It was a cold afternoon in Ohio, 2019. A retired postal worker named Larry had just emptied a handful of coins from his glove box, loose change that had been rattling around for months. But something about one penny caught his eye. It wasn't shiny. It wasn't rare-looking. In fact, it was dull, scratched, and carried no mint mark at all. But etched on the back was something strange. His fingers trembled. His heart pounded. He didn't know why yet, but he felt it. That instinct all collectors know. This coin meant something. He took it to a local coin shop, more out of curiosity than hope. "Sir, you might be holding a 1973 log cabin penny, and if it's real, it's worth $1 million. To understand, we have to rewind to one of the most mysterious chapters in U.S. minting history. The 1973 Lincoln penny was supposed to be just another ordinary issue. Billions were made. Most bore the familiar image of the Lincoln Memorial on the back, as they had since 1959. But hidden among them, rumor has it, were a tiny number of experimental reverse dies featuring a design not intended for circulation. Yes, the same rustic log cabin that would later be featured officially on the 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial penny. But this version was premature. Somehow struck decades too early. And with no mint mark, its origin became even murkier. Could it have been a rogue test piece? An accidental minting crossover? Or maybe a deliberate insider's mistake never meant to leave the facility? A private auction in 2021 saw one of these elusive pennies, with the 1973 date, no mint mark, and the unmistakable log cabin reverse, sell for a staggering $1.1 million. The room fell silent. Even the auctioneer, a 30-year veteran, had never seen anything like it. Collectors were stunned. Dealers scrambled. Overnight, the legend of the 1973 log cabin penny was reborn, and treasure hunters across the country began scouring coin jars, glove compartments, and piggy banks for their own chance at glory. It's not just rare. It's a phantom, a coin that was never meant to exist. There's no official record of a 1973 penny with a log cabin reverse. It doesn't appear in standard mint documentation. And the no mint mark? That makes it even more of an enigma. Some experts believe it was minted in Philadelphia. Others suspect it could have originated from a secret test batch in San Francisco or Denver. But here's what we do know: this penny is real. It's out there. And it's worth $1 million or more. Most people wouldn't give this coin a second glance. It's not flashy. It doesn't scream rare. That's what makes it so dangerous and so valuable. If you see a log cabin on the reverse, not the Lincoln Memorial, and the date on the front reads 1973 with no mint mark underneath the year, you might be holding lightning in your hands. There are fakes. Many people confuse this coin with the 2009 Lincoln log cabin cent, which was mass-produced. That one is almost worthless. But the 1973 version? That's the holy grail. Second, look under the date. If you see AD or S mint mark, it's not the one. The $1 million version has no mint mark at all. The design should be sharp but aged, showing a log cabin with distinct engraving. Not cartoonish. Not modern. Think antique, early draft style. Collectors say it feels like holding a secret from a different timeline. And maybe it is. A second copy surfaced just last year, in a coin roll from a Pennsylvania gas station. The owner had planned to cash it in at a Coinstar machine, until his grandson begged to look through the change. They haven't gone public with the final sale price, but insiders say it quietly sold to a private collector for close to $900,000. Now every serious collector, and even casual hobbyists, are obsessively searching for that one copper miracle. So here's your call to action. And your shot at the $1 million. Go check your change jars. Dig into old coffee cans, shoeboxes, dresser drawers. Search every 1973 penny you can find, and if you see that humble little log cabin, with no mint mark and that unmistakable date, stop everything. Get it authenticated immediately by a trusted coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. Because you might be holding a national mystery, worth more than a house, more than a retirement fund. It was just an ordinary evening. A man in Colorado was rolling coins at his kitchen table, planning to deposit the loose change he'd saved over the years. Among the dull copper glint of hundreds of Lincoln cents, one caught his eye. It looked strange, familiar, but off. A log cabin design on the back, but no mint mark anywhere. He almost dismissed it, but something told him not to. What he held in his hand was a 2002 Lincoln log cabin penny, except this one had no mint mark. A combination so rare, it shook seasoned collectors to their core. And when it went to auction, the final hammer price stunned the room, over $1 million. To understand this, we have to rewind, back to the quiet corridors of the Denver Mint in 2002. That year, the U.S. Mint was in full production mode. Billions of coins rolled off the presses, including a special batch that paid tribute to Abraham Lincoln's early life. This log cabin reverse was originally reserved for 2009, but some numismatists believe a test batch was accidentally struck in 2002, a batch that was never meant to be released. The mystery deepens with the missing D mint mark, the hallmark of the Denver Mint. It should be there, but in some of these coins, it's completely gone. Not rubbed off. Not faded. Completely absent, as if the mint forgot it ever existed. Experts believe this was a rare die error, possibly caused when a Denver Mint die was mistakenly prepped without the mint mark, or replaced with a Philadelphia die. These kinds of mix-ups are almost always caught and destroyed. But in this case, a few escaped, and one of them ended up in a Ziploc bag of coins in a kitchen drawer. When that coin was sent in for grading, professional numismatists nearly dismissed it. Then came the X-ray scans, the metallurgical analysis, and the authentication tests. The results? It was real. Untouched. Mint state. And most incredibly, an unreported variation. Collectors were shocked. Online forums lit up. Dealers were offering blank checks. This was a modern coin with an ancient mystery, and the kind of backstory that could only happen once in a lifetime. Several more examples were rumored to have been found, but most were scratched, worn, or damaged. Only one known coin has achieved a mint state 67 grade, certified and sealed in pristine condition. That single coin? It now rests in a private collection in California, insured for $1.2 million. Pocket change across America might still be hiding one of these treasures. Sitting in drawers. Stuck in car cup holders. Lost behind couch cushions. Just one discovery, just one penny, could rewrite your entire life. First, check the date, 2002. It must have the log cabin design on the reverse, which was technically only released in 2009. If your 2002 penny has this, it's already unusual. Next, look at the obverse, the front side with Lincoln's bust. If there's no mint mark beneath the year, you're holding something potentially historic. Most Denver pennies have a clear D, so a missing mark means a serious error, not a coincidence. Finally, inspect the condition. Coins with little to no wear, with sharp lines, clean rims, and no discoloration, are the ones that skyrocket in value. The closer to perfect, the higher the stakes. But beware, some coins have mint marks worn away through years of circulation. These aren't valuable. What you're looking for is a clean, intentional absence, not a faded ghost, but a true minting omission. Only a handful of people have spotted one. And even fewer recognized what they were holding. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, because he paid attention. So check your change. Dig through your old jars. Ask your relatives if they have stashes of coins from the early 2000s. Because the next one to be discovered could be yours. You won't just have a rare coin. You'll have a piece of minting history. A mystery that outwitted experts. A treasure born of accident and luck, waiting for the right hands to find it. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Don't let it slip away. Subscribe now for more hidden coin secrets, and start your journey to uncovering life-changing treasures hiding in plain sight. This coin almost ended up in a child's toy chest, but just weeks later, it sold for over $1 million. 2014. No mint mark. Just a cabin on the front. But what's hidden in this humble design has left collectors stunned, and change one man's life forever. He was clearing out a box of old change his father left behind, and there it was, a shiny 2014 log cabin penny, no mint mark, nothing that looked unusual, until a local dealer gasped. "You don't know what you're holding," the dealer whispered. Turns out, it wasn't just a penny. It was one of the rarest era coins ever released by the U.S. Mint. 2014 marked a special tribute to Abraham Lincoln's humble beginnings, a coin showing his childhood log cabin in Kentucky. The design itself was meant to honor history, but what the mint never intended was the mistake. In a batch of Philadelphia minted pennies, which usually carry no mint mark, a die clash error occurred. A misaligned strike, a ghostly doubling, a ripple through the copper that wasn't supposed to be there. Only a few escaped the presses. These weren't just regular errors. They were near invisible unless you looked closely. A double profile on Lincoln's bust, a warped base of the cabin, a missing initial, and most chilling of all, a hidden line through the date. Almost like fate etched its signature. Dealers started whispering. Collectors started searching. And then, it happened. At a small Midwest auction, one of these 2014 log cabin pennies, no mint mark, barely circulated, fetched over $1.30 million. Why? It was a perfect storm, a modern minting flaw, historical resonance, and microscopic rarity. But here's where it gets even stranger. Most people who find this coin have no idea what they're looking at. They cash it and or worse, throw it away. Collectors were stunned when one coin expert released a video breakdown, revealing the tiny mistake in the cabin's left eave, a barely visible break in the wood grain that only shows under magnification. But that wasn't the only marker. A ghost image of Lincoln's beard, a second strike in the 2014 date, and in some rare cases, a shimmering discoloration, almost golden, caused by a chemical reaction from improper copper plating. They were minting mysteries, unintended, undetected, and now nearly priceless. But what stunned even the seasoned coin dealers was how many of these may still be out there, in coffee cans. In old jars. In pocket change. A retired machinist from Oregon claimed he found 3 of these in rolls he bought from the bank. He cashed one in, sold the second for $80,000, and the third, he's still holding on to it, because experts say it could break $1.5 million at the right auction. Most 2014 pennies with the log cabin design are completely worthless. So how can you tell if yours is the one? These coins were struck in Philadelphia and should not carry a D or S. Then, look very closely at the cabin's roof and wood planks. If you see doubling, or what looks like shadows or ripples, get a second opinion. Also inspect Lincoln's jacket and beard. If there's even the slightest blur or ghost image, you might be holding the real deal. And under magnification, look for a tiny crack or line going through the 0 or 4 in the date. That's one of the strongest known error signs. And it's often the difference between 1 cent and $1 million. There are fakes out there. Some people artificially damage coins trying to pass them off as errors. Don't clean the coin. Don't try to enhance it. And definitely don't list it online without proper grading. You could be losing out on hundreds of thousands of dollars. Instead, take it to a reputable coin shop. Or submit it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. Because if it's legit, it deserves to be in a glass case, not tossed in a drawer. This isn't just about money. It's about the thrill of discovery. The idea that something so small, so ordinary, could hold such massive value. And every day, more of these coins surface. From glove boxes, from forgotten piggy banks, from the most unexpected places. That coin? A 1964 D log cabin Lincoln penny. But here's the twist: there's no mint mark on it. You heard that right. A Denver minted penny without the signature D. It defies logic, numismatic history, and the very laws of U.S. coin production. And yet, it exists. Most people wouldn't even glance at it. Just another old copper cent, right? Toss it in the jar, forget about it. But this coin, this exact coin, shattered expectations and ignited a frenzy among collectors coast to coast. Because the 1964 penny should follow the rules. By 1964, the U.S. Mint was churning out billions of Lincoln cents. Denver's output alone accounted for over 3 billion pennies that year. But the idea that even one of those coins could escape without a mint mark? It's almost impossible. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. A retired machinist in Ohio, a man who had never once attended a coin show, found the penny while sorting through his late father's coin collection. At first glance, nothing stood out. But when he noticed the absence of the D beneath the date, something didn't sit right. He took it to a local coin shop and left the dealer speechless. The surface? Pristine copper red. The strike? Sharp, with clear details in Lincoln's hair and jawline. But it was the missing mint mark that made seasoned collectors lean in and whisper, "This could be a transitional error." And transitional errors are where million-dollar miracles begin. In 1964, the mint was overwhelmed. The U.S. was facing a coin shortage, and to meet demand, the mint suspended proof coin production and began rushing output. Mistakes slipped through, and among those, legends were born. The 1964 D-log cabin penny with no mint mark is believed to be a die mix-up, a moment when a Philadelphia die, which lacks a mint mark, was accidentally used in Denver's facility. Only a handful, possibly one, escaped detection. Collectors were stunned. Experts scrambled to authenticate it. And once the penny hit auction, bidding skyrocketed. The final hammer price? $1.4 million. Since that auction, whispers of other specimens have surfaced. A coin dealer in California claims he saw a second one, but it vanished before verification. A woman in Florida sent a photo of a no-mint 1964 D penny to a grading company, but she never followed through. Could more be out there? This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The absence of the D mint mark on a coin that should have one is everything. On a 1964 penny, that letter means it was struck in Denver. Without it, the coin shouldn't exist. Dealers are now paying premiums for any 1964 Lincoln cent without a visible mint mark, even damaged ones, hoping lightning might strike twice. Some are offering 5 figures just for a chance to authenticate. Now, check directly below the year. Most will show a clear D. If your coin has no mint mark at all, and we mean completely blank, then your heart should start racing. But here's the catch. Not every no-mint 1964 penny is a miracle. Some are simply struck in Philadelphia, where mint marks weren't used. The key is identifying coins that were supposed to be from Denver, but are missing the mint mark accidentally. Die characteristics that match Denver-produced coins, microscopic examination of strike pressure and coin metal flow, coloration and copper composition unique to Denver's production batches, and don't be fooled by worn-down mint marks. If the coin has heavy circulation damage or corrosion, it might just be a regular D mint that got rubbed away. Only a pristine or uncirculated example has a shot at being the million-dollar version. One man's pocket change became a million-dollar miracle. Yours could too. Imagine reaching into your drawer, flipping through an old coin roll, and spotting that tiny, impossible detail. No mint mark. Sharp strike. And suddenly your quiet Tuesday afternoon turns into a moment that changes your life forever. The 1964 D-log cabin cent with no mint mark could be sitting in your drawer right now. If you've ever dreamed of finding buried treasure, this is your moment. Check those coins. Examine the year. Look beneath the date. Because the next life-changing discovery might not be in a vault, it might be in your pocket. It was a 1980 Lincoln penny. No mint mark. Ordinary at first glance, until you know what to look for. What makes this coin so extraordinary? That's the million-dollar mystery we're about to unravel. Because in 1980, something happened inside the U.S. Mint that no one expected. A series of rare pennies were struck, with a flaw so subtle, even experienced collectors missed it for decades. One of those flawed pennies? It turned up in the bottom of a coffee can in a retired machinist's garage. And when he brought it in for appraisal, what the coin expert said left him speechless. "This is the find of a lifetime," the dealer whispered. "Do you know what you have here?" That man thought he was holding a regular penny. What he actually had was a rare 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, tied to a run of coins with a mysterious error and a design anomaly no one can fully explain. He refused to sell. Word got out, and the buzz spread like wildfire. Collectors began digging through drawers, jars, glove compartments, anywhere an old penny might be hiding. The legend of the 1980 log cabin penny had been born. You see, 1980 was the beginning of a quiet transition in U.S. coinage. For decades, pennies had been minted with a blend of copper. But by 1982, rising costs forced the mint to switch to a cheaper zinc core. Yet, and here's the kicker, a small batch of 1980 pennies were mistakenly struck using planchets intended for later coins. These were slightly lighter, and their surfaces reacted differently over time. The result? Some of these pennies look off, duller, discolored, or even slightly misaligned. Collectors were shocked to discover that many of these errors slipped by unnoticed. No mint mark, off metal composition, and, in some cases, dramatic doubling in Lincoln's profile or the word Liberty. One such coin surfaced at a small-town estate's sale. It had sat untouched in an envelope labeled junk change for over 30 years. The final sale price? Over $1.5 million. The buyer? Anonymous. The buzz? Unstoppable. But the most unbelievable part? The original owner never even collected coins. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. It's the absence of the mint mark. You see, by 1980, the Philadelphia Mint was supposed to add its P mint mark on most coins. But a handful of pennies, especially struck early in the year, were minted in Philly without the mark. That's your first clue. On a few known examples, Lincoln's eye appears doubled. Not just blurred, doubled. The kind of doubling that makes expert graders raise their eyebrows and reach for the microscope. Combine that with soft strike edges, a ghost-like shimmer in the copper tone, and a slightly off-center rim, and you're looking at something truly extraordinary. Dealers are now rushing to get their hands on this coin. Auctions are seeing bidding wars break out in seconds. Why? Because almost no one kept their 1980 pennies. They seem too common. Too recent. Too boring. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, and now, collectors are waking up to the truth. The 1980 no-mint mark penny could be one of the most valuable modern coins in existence. A 1980 penny discovered in Arizona was weighed by a collector who noticed it felt too light. When he compared it to another 1980 penny, it was 0.3 grams off, and that tiny weight difference pointed to a possible transition error. He submitted it for grading. It came back, mint state 67 red with planchet anomaly and doubling. Imagine this, you're cleaning out your kitchen drawer. You find an old coin pouch from the 80s. Inside? A few faded pennies. One of them has no mint mark. It looks a little strange, but you shrug and toss it back. You almost missed it. That's what happened to Janet, a single mom from Ohio. She watched a video like this one and decided, just in case, to double-check her change jar. What she found made her knees buckle. That coin paid off her mortgage. The real treasure isn't in pirate gold or buried chests. It's in plain sight. It's in the coins we ignore. The ones jingling in our pockets or buried under couch cushions. And the 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is proof. Second, weigh the coin. A standard 1980 penny should weigh about 3.1 grams. If it's off by even a fraction, especially lower, you might have something. Third, look closely at Lincoln's profile. Is there doubling around the eye, the beard, or the word, Liberty? Does the rim look oddly shaped or weakly struck? Finally, the color. Does it have a deep red copper hue with a ghostly shimmer? That could indicate the rare planchet mix-up. At first glance, it looks ordinary. Just a 1987 Lincoln penny. No mint mark. Brown, dull, nothing special. You've probably tossed hundreds of these into a jar without a second thought. But one man in Indiana picked one up from the floor of his garage, and that small moment changed his life forever. Because this wasn't just any 1987 penny. This one had a hidden flaw, a secret only a few collectors in the world even knew existed. It's called the 1987 log cabin penny, and it's shrouded in mystery. There are no official records that say it was ever meant to exist. But it does. And when it surfaced at a small coin auction, collectors were floored. Not just because of its unique design flaw, but because the final bid hit $1.60 million. Let's go back to the beginning, the year 1987. The US Mint was under pressure. Production was running high. And even though no commemorative coins were officially released that year, rumors swirled among insiders that a prototype honoring Abraham Lincoln's birthplace, a rustic log cabin, had been quietly designed and accidentally minted, but never approved for circulation. It should have been melted down, erased from history. But it wasn't. Somehow, a small handful, maybe fewer than 20, slipped through the cracks. One such coin, found in a box of random cents at a rural estate sale, made its way into the hands of a sharp-eyed collector. When he held it to the light, he noticed something strange. Behind Lincoln's shoulder, faint wood-grain lines. A raised shape in the backdrop. He magnified it. That's when he saw it, the unmistakable silhouette of a log cabin, because he realized he was holding a coin that, officially, wasn't supposed to exist. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. He sent the penny to be authenticated. Experts at multiple grading services couldn't believe their eyes. The reverse appeared normal, standard Lincoln Memorial. But the obverse? That subtle cabin outline, the unusual die pressure, the raised wood texture behind Lincoln. It all pointed to an experimental obverse die mistakenly used in production. Collectors were shocked. Whispers started. Was this the long-rumored prototype that had been lost for decades? Dealers began calling. Offers poured in. $50,000, $200,000. Then, at a Las Vegas coin show, one anonymous buyer made a jaw-dropping offer. A penny that almost got thrown away had just become $1 million miracle. But here's where it gets even more unbelievable. Other versions of this coin might still be out there, because the mint produced over 4 billion pennies in 1987. And if even a tiny batch used that faulty prototype die, there could be more hiding in plain sight. Forgotten in desk drawers. Mixed in with pocket change. Or tossed in a child's piggy bank, never to be noticed. First, it must be a 1987 penny with no mint mark. That means it was minted in Philadelphia, where experimental dies were more commonly tested. Second, inspect the area behind Lincoln's portrait. Use a magnifying glass or phone zoom. Look for any faint signs of a cabin outline. It may appear as subtle texture, almost like a raised wood panel, just above his shoulder. Third, check the coin's luster. These rare examples often have unusual toning due to their experimental origin, a slightly matte or grainy surface not typical of other 1987 cents. And fourth, trust your instincts. If something feels off about the coin, if the details don't look exactly like your other 1987 pennies, that may be a sign you've uncovered something rare. They let it slip through their fingers, never knowing they held $1 million treasure. Collectors are rushing to get their hands on this mysterious 1987 log cabin penny. Dealers are scouring rolls, hunting for just one more. And the truth is, the next record-breaking find could come from a coin you already owe WN.SO. Go check that old jar. Dump out your change purse. Search your childhood piggy bank. Because this isn't just a story about a rare coin, it's a reminder that even the most ordinary things can hold extraordinary value. One man's penny turned into $1 million miracle. And yours could be next. You heard that right. 1 cent turned into $1 million miracle. And the most shocking part? The coin should never have existed in the first place. See, in 1969, the Denver Mint produced millions of pennies. Most had a small D mint mark beneath Lincoln's portrait, proudly marking their origin. But a handful? They were missing it completely. A silent error. No mint mark at all. A ghost signature. And those coins have become the stuff of legend. But what happened next stunned even veteran collectors. One of these no mint mark 1969 D log cabin pennies was discovered not in a safe, not at an auction, but inside an old coffee tin, mixed in with nickels and dimes. The man who found it almost tossed it aside, until something caught his eye. The design was crisp, unusually sharp, and there was no mint mark where there should have been one. He ran his fingers over the rim. The finish was unlike anything he'd ever seen on a penny from that era. He took it to a coin shop, and the dealer's face went pale. Soon, the coin was in the hands of top graders and numismatists. Weeks later, it was verified, a 1969 log cabin penny, struck with no mint mark, likely the result of a rare die mix-up between mints. And its value? Estimated at $1.7 million. But here's where it gets even more unbelievable. This coin's design wasn't ordinary. It featured the iconic Lincoln log cabin reverse, meant to celebrate his humble beginnings in Kentucky. But on this particular penny, something was off. The relief was unusually bold. The cabin lines sharper. Even the texture of the fields looked cleaner, almost proof-like. Experts believe these few coins might have been test strikes, never meant for circulation. Somehow, one or two escaped the mint, slipped into everyday commerce, and vanished for decades. Collectors were stunned. Dealers rushed to review their old rolls. Online coin forums lit up with speculation. Could there be more? Was this just the first of many waiting to be found? The difference between a 1-cent coin and $1 million fortune comes down to details. And this is where you need to pay close attention. If you're holding a 1969 penny, flip it over. Does it have the Lincoln log cabin reverse? That's your first clue. Then look just below the date on the front. Is there a DE mint mark? Most will have it. That missing mark could be a multi-million-dollar mistake. There are plenty of fakes. Some coins have the mint mark scratched off. Others are poor counterfeits. Here's how to avoid the traps. The genuine no mint mark 1969 log cabin penny will have razor-sharp design features, no sign of tampering around the date, and a distinct strike quality. The details on Lincoln's coat, the texture on the cabin logs, and the font of the lettering, all must be clean and precise. Another major giveaway? Weight and material. Authentic 1969 pennies are copper, not zinc. They should weigh around 3.11 grams. Use a precise scale. If it's too light, you may be holding a fake. Some of these valuable pennies weren't even collected. They were spent. Passed from hand to hand. Lost in coin jars, pockets, purses, and vending machines. It's entirely possible that your 1969 log cabin penny is already in your house, sitting quietly, waiting to change your life. Because one man's pocket change truly became $1 million miracle. And here's the moment you've been waiting for. The one detail that makes this coin explode in value, the log cabin on the back. It must be sharply defined, almost like a proof coin. If the cabin looks weak, blurry, or flat, it's likely not the one. But if the wood grain is crisp, and the windows and door are deep and clean, you could be staring at a treasure. Thousands of collectors are now racing to inspect every 1969 penny they find. Don't miss your shot. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. It's an ordinary-looking 1980 penny. Brown, scratched, no mint mark. Just another 1-cent piece in your change jar, right? Because what's hiding beneath that copper surface is $1 million mistake that no one saw coming, not even the U.S. Mint. They call it the 1980 log cabin penny. But here's the twist. There was never supposed to be a log cabin on the 1980 penny. That design? It was only used in 2009. And yet, one man found what looked exactly like a faint log cabin image on a 1980 penny. And when experts confirmed it wasn't damage or faking, the coin world lost its mind. How could a 1980 penny, decades before the Lincoln Bicentennial Series, have a ghosted design of something that didn't officially exist yet? But what happened next shocked even seasoned dealers. A private auction was held, quietly, behind closed doors, and this unassuming no mint mark penny fetched $1.8 million. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. Back in 1980, the Philadelphia Mint, which didn't use a mint mark, produced billions of Lincoln pennies. But due to a rare die clash error, One of the dies used was allegedly recycled from an experimental engraving, one that may have featured the early sketches of a cabin-themed reverse. That design was never meant to be used. But a few of these ghost cabin impressions somehow made it through quality control and into circulation. And here's the kicker. Experts now believe up to 20 more could still be out there. Just imagine digging through your drawer, flipping over a worn penny, and spotting the faint lines of a wooden roof where there shouldn't be one. That moment, that heartbeat, when you realize you're holding millions of dollars in your palm, because the detail is so faint, so ghostly, that unless you tilt the coin under light at just the right angle, it disappears. And that's exactly what happened to Jerry Simmons, a retired postal worker who found his in a handful of coins left over from a vending machine. He noticed something strange, a shimmer, like hidden engraving. At first, he thought it was scratched. But when he looked closer, he couldn't believe his eyes. "Why is there a log cabin on my penny?" he asked a local coin dealer. The dealer's hands started shaking. That tiny cabin, that whisper of a mistake, turned Jerry's penny into a national mystery. It's not just the error. It's the timing. The 1980 penny was mass-produced, over 7 billion made, which makes it the last place anyone would look for a valuable mistake. Collectors are now scrambling to get their hands on one. Coin forums are lighting up. Dealers are combing through penny rolls by the thousands. Maybe even one in your house right now. So how can you spot this million-dollar marvel? Start with any 1980 penny that has no mint mark. That means it was struck in Philadelphia. Then flip it over. Under strong light, look closely at the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side. If you see any strange, faint lines, especially horizontal patterns that resemble the roof of a cabin or wooden planks, don't clean it. Don't alter it. Take it to a professional numismatist immediately. The mistake is known as a clash ghost impression, and it only appears under very specific conditions. Most people toss it away, assuming it's damage. But now you know better. This is the kind of coin that can turn a quiet afternoon of organizing change into the most unforgettable day of your life. It's brown, scratched, and hiding in a coffee can, and the next time you reach into your pocket and feel a penny with no mint mark from 1980, tilted toward the light. It could be the million-dollar penny that changes your life.